We have all been in a situation where we've been sitting at home at one point, scrolling through our phones and we're minding our business, and then boom, you see everyone's at a party you're not invited to, or these people are traveling to this place, or these people have achieved this goal, or a group of your friends are hanging out, and you start spiraling. But 2 minutes ago, you were completely fine. But now you have this intense fear of missing out and craving to be part of that. Why? That is exactly what we are going to be breaking down and revealing in today's video, because I have tried so many things out there, so this is what actually works. I've broken them down all into a 4 very simple step process to overcome FOMO, and if you stay to the end, I have a little takeaway homework and workbook section where I've got a free workbook that you can download below, and it gives you exercises to implement and take away into your life so that you can actually get the results you want from this video instead of just listening to it all and not implementing it into your life. So without further ado, let's get rid of that FOMO. So FOMO comes from consuming and taking in what other people are doing and then using that as, I should be doing that, I'm doing something wrong, I should be there. And that's why you were completely fine beforehand. If you're just at home minding your business, you're enjoying yourself, everything's fine. But the second you see something, suddenly you feel like, I should be there, I'm going to be missing out if I'm not doing that. And that is not the case. It's just because we're seeing others do that, we take that as a signal as that's what we should be doing as well. And then we start imagining all these scenarios in our heads of what could happen and what I might miss out on if I'm not there. We find every reason to decide that we should be there. We make it this whole thing, but in reality, that is not 100% guaranteed of what we're thinking in our head. And we are just taking what other people are doing, and then because we are not doing that, we feel like we're doing something wrong. This can happen with parties or success or traveling or friends hanging out or communities, and we create this fear around it. And I've seen someone talk about the concept of the joy of missing out, and I think that is a really important perspective shift to have in your head while you're looking at everything we're going to talk about in this video, because fear of missing out is the problem. It's not the missing out that's the issue, it's the fear that you create around it, the scenarios that you convince yourself you're missing out on. That is where the problem comes from, not the fact that you are actually not there and missing out. And when you realize that, you are able to happily sit at home, happily do whatever it is you're doing and not feel fear just because you are missing out. FOMO comes from that need to belong. You want to be part of it. You don't know what you're missing out on there. But actually having progress in life, having a meaningful life, having meaningful connections and relationships with other people, none of that comes from going to things just because you're missing out and everybody else is going to it. We're better to be selective and miss out than you are to be everywhere all at once just in case. And we're going to get into that. When you think about FOMO, it's really a result of envy or jealousy or comparison, because if someone's there or someone's doing something and you're not doing it and you feel like you're missing out, you're comparing yourself to them. But if you never seen them do that in the first place, then you wouldn't have that fear of missing out. FOMO happens when you are too aware of what other people are doing. And I actually seen this in a podcast I was watching recently, which I found so fascinating. The word FOMO was put in the dictionary in 2013 when social media was really coming up and about and it was being used a lot more and everyone was getting on it. People didn't care what other people were doing when they couldn't see it. You don't have a fear of missing out about something that you don't know is happening. And so the awareness is the problem. And of course you can't help if you're online and you see people doing certain things, you can't help that. You have to find another way to deal with it. But not constantly looking for what's going on, and when you're at home, not constantly looking for what everybody else is doing and what you're missing out on is a really important first step in order to detach from FOMO, because if you're not aware of it, what are you missing out on? I remember my first case of FOMO. Actually, I don't even think it was my first case, but it was the first time that I can really clearly remember and still feel the feeling of FOMO. I was at home and I remember I was watching one of my favorite movies. I was just chilling, having a really nice night. This was when I was still in high school. And I had a really good friend who I'd introduced to my cousin. And they decided to hang out without me, which of course is so painful. Like that's why, you know, I used to hate introducing people to other people. I felt so much FOMO in that moment. Like, how could you guys be there and not invite me? You guys are doing this thing. Now I'm here sad at home. And when I look at that situation, I wasn't sad at home. I was perfectly happy at home. It was only the awareness of knowing that they were doing that without me, which made me have that fear of, oh, I wish I was there instead, because if I was there, I would be having more fun. But you don't even know that you would be having more fun if you're there. And the situations that you attach to what you think you're missing out on is more of the fear than actually being there in the first place. So with online, obviously you experience so much FOMO. You see so many things happening that you were not included in because the whole world is on social media and you are not with everybody all at once, obviously. Something you really need to remember is that social media is a highlight reel. And I think that's so important to note, because people are not entitled to show you their bad days. And this is a really specific example I find so fascinating. I remember one time at school there was a party going on that I wasn't invited to, or I wasn't allowed to go to. I can't remember, but I know I wasn't there. And I spent the whole night fantasizing about how amazing it would be, who I would have spoken to, what I would have done at that party, just creating all these situations in my head. And I was like, it was 1 a.m. and I couldn't sleep. And I was like, I wonder what everyone's doing now. I wish I was there, blah, 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 blah. Turns out when I went to school the next day, somebody told me that 1 hour into the party at 8 p.m, the police had showed up, told everyone to get out, and the party did not even go ahead. And that's given me so much perspective now to be like, oh my gosh, FOMO really is just this exaggerated fear in your head. You're not actually missing out, you're just scared that you might be. Because in that time I had thought of all the different things I could be doing, the amazing fun I would have had, and in reality everyone that was there was not having that good time. We're so obsessed with, am I missing out? Am I making the wrong decision by not being there? I'm missing out on an opportunity that might happen. Whereas these opportunities are just things that you're fantasizing about. When you're there, you could still be fantasizing about that thing happening and it wouldn't happen. It's not guaranteed. So this is where everything starts to really make sense and you understand what to do about FOMO. FOMO shows a lack of certainty and confidence. And the reason I say that is because if you were certain and confident about what you're doing right now and how that contributes to your future and blah, 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 you are not worried about a hypothetical situation of somewhere you might have been where something might have happened. I know fine well when I am sitting at home and I am enjoying myself, I'm not worried about, oh, should I be on the other side of the street? Because other people are on the other side of the street. And if I was on the other side of the street, what if I walked past someone and they were a millionaire and they give me all this money? That would be ridiculous to think. It comes from a lack of certainty. You don't know what you want, you don't know what you focus on, you don't know what you value right now. And so you want to be going to these places in case there's something for you there, in case there's something good for you there. But if you actually spend your life learning to do things that fill your own life, things that you love, things that contribute to the future you want to have for yourself, you can do those things actively. And when you're missing out on something else, you're not worried because you know your success is guaranteed with where you are. The life you want is guaranteed with where you are right now, not these potential places that you might be able to go that you don't even know what's going to happen in. I feel like overcoming FOMO more than anything is about self-discovery and self-certainty and confidence. What can you focus on instead? And I love this concept because if I am at home now, I love working on my business, I love learning, I love self-development, and if there's a party going on right now, I don't get upset just because everyone's there and I'm not there, because I love what I'm doing right now and I have this vision of my future that I'm pouring into. There is no place I would rather be. I could go there, and when I'm thinking, oh, should I go? I literally go, no, I don't even want to, because what's the best thing that's going to happen if I'm there? That might not even happen. Nothing positive might come from that experience, but I know if I'm at home right now, I'm doing things I love, doing things that fill up my own cup, doing things that fuel my future or things that I'm interested in. I can guarantee that I get something good out of it instead of chancing it, going to somewhere because I'm missing out on it, not even knowing if I'm going to get what I want out of that situation. So a lack of self-certainty is what leads to the draining and the self-sabotaging, going to all these things just because you're scared of missing out instead of spending your time intentionally. You just follow other people and do what other people do. Now this is where it gets super interesting. When you think about FOMO like this, you start to realize that your energy is so sacred. And what I mean by that is you want to be so certain on what you're worth, your value, what you love in life, what your future is going to look like, what you're spending your time on, that you are so intentional with your time. You do not have time to be giving your energy to something that you don't even know is going to benefit you in any way. And I think that having like a really strong level of self-discovery and your core values and what you care about in life is how you ground yourself in these moments and detach from the concept of needing to be somewhere just because other people are. I'm only available for what serves me. So if I'm working on my goals, if I'm doing things that actually uplift my life, I'm not giving my time and energy away for that for something that might not contribute to my life in any way. I am reserving my energy for things that definitely uplift me and things that are really important for me to have in my life right now. That also goes from flipping into an abundance mindset, that things are working out for you, everything can contribute to your bigger mission, you can get where you want to go in life, you trust that it's all going to work out for you. There is no such thing as just in case. I'll go just in case this happens. I'll do this just in case this happens. Because you're not in a scarcity mindset of, oh, I hope I can go, like, because I never know what I'm going to miss out on. Oh, I just need to go just in case. I understand that the things that are meant for me come to me in abundance. And instead of me giving out all my energy just in case, I reserve my energy. I protect my peace and my energy and my space. And I'm very intentional with my time, because everything that's meant for me will come to me. I don't need to do anything out of scarcity just in case. I know what's meant for me in life is aligned with me, and if I was supposed to be there, then I will be there. So a really great hack you can use is finding things that you can be a part of. For example, groups, communities, clubs, a business, literally anything. Find things that you want to be a part of that guarantee progress for you in some way, or even if it's not progress, even just joy. So for example, you could find online communities, you could find Facebook groups, you could find mentorships to be a part of. Filling your life up is such an important thing to do, and it doesn't have to be like paid clubs. For example, like I did a lot of after school clubs when I was younger. Even if I couldn't, on the nights I didn't have clubs, I wasn't like, oh, I have nothing to do, let me just watch what everybody else is doing. I was finding things to do. I was finding hobbies. I was finding things I love, because I know I can fill my own life up in that way when I spend my time on those things. And that is going to help you be more at peace with what you're doing, knowing good for them, they can do what they want, but I am happy right here. And this gets you moving from the mentality of what's there to what's here. Because when you're looking at, okay, what's over there? What's in this place that I'm missing out on? It's a maybe. Maybe this opportunity will happen. Maybe this person will be there. Maybe this situation will happen. Or what can I do right here that I guarantee will happen? Going back to what I said before about self-certainty and confidence, this FOMO highlights the areas where you need more self-discovery and more self-confidence and more self-certainty. And you can look at what you can do right now to be in control of your life right now and actually benefit from it, instead of focusing on and dwelling on all the maybes of what you hope would happen in a fantasy situation. You need to understand that if you always just go with the maybe situation that's not guaranteed just because you're missing out, you will look back and regret it. I mean, I didn't party a lot, but there was like a year of my life where I did a lot of social activities, but I also did a lot of other stuff. I did musical theatre, and I had a business when I was younger. I did a bajillion things. I was one of those kids that had so many hobbies, and I didn't experience a lot of FOMO, but during that year I did a lot because everyone was like, you have to have that year, like you have to get out of your system, that's what you do. And so I did that, and I look back now and realize I could have been so much more progressed in my career right now. I really didn't care to have that, and I don't care that I had it, and I'm not glad that I did it. So you need to do what's right for you, not what's the status quo. And speaking of that, now we're going to go on to how other people view it. Success is not social, it's personal. Going to these parties is going to make you popular. If you do all this stuff, you're going to be friends with everyone at school. Blah, 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 blah. But does their opinion of you now contribute to your future in any way? Absolutely not. This is another reason so many of us fall for the FOMO trap, because it's about validation. I went out partying so much because I thought you need to have those crazy years. That's what you're supposed to do. And I got over it so quickly. Most people do it over several years. I literally, after a year, I was like, I can't do this anymore. By 19, I was like, I'm never going out again. And I've not been out very frequently since then. But I think it's the concept of that social idea of what everybody else is saying is the go-to, and therefore you do these things because that's what makes sense to society instead of what makes sense to you and your bigger vision and mission. But I'm assuming if you're watching my channel, you know you're the kind of person that wants more in life. So if you're that kind of person, then why are you caring about what the general other people think, the people that have the life that you don't want to have? And just to clarify, this does not mean anybody who does those things is less than you just because you don't go out, you're better than them. That's not what it means. This simply means that their priorities are different than your priorities, and you focusing on your priorities and them focusing on their priorities doesn't mean the other one is wrong or right. It just means you're on different paths, but that is the point. You're not supposed to be on the same path as everybody else. Not missing out is making space for what works for you in life. So now that we have been through all the steps, let's talk about what you can do and what you can implement out of everything you've learned to take away into your life so you can ditch the FOMO, because you do not need to be dealing with that anymore. And I do want to preface by saying this will take some work. It's not like one time you're going to do something and never going to experience FOMO again. You're going to train your brain with this over time. The more you learn yourself and the more confidence you gain and the more time you spend learning what you do want to put your energy on instead. So it's not something that's going to happen overnight, but when you learn to master it, it will never go away. So the things that you need to take away is, the first thing is self-discovery. You need to spend time getting to know yourself. You can do the workbook questions that are going to be in the workbook link down below to learn more about yourself, figure out what you like, figure out what you value and what you want to spend your time on and what genuinely lights you up. Then the next section is self-certainty and self-confidence. and you can do the exercises in the workbook for this that are really going to help you be sure of who you are and more sure in these goals, because the interest plus the confidence is what really gets you the lack of FOMO, being okay with missing out instead of fear. And then the next is pouring energy into your priorities. How are you going to maybe sign up to things or plan time to do certain things? How are you going to fill up your life right now so it's filled with things that actually matter, that are 100% guaranteed to give you a return on your energy, so that you're not tempted to go and do things that might maybe give you something back but probably not. And last but not least, detaching from external validation, because when you don't care what other people think you should do, you don't feel wrong for doing something different than them. And I do have another whole video on self-validating and detaching from external validation, and a video on not caring what other people think. So if you want to go and watch those and do the workbooks that are linked in with those, they will completely change your life in regarding to FOMO as well. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you loved it as much as I loved making it. If you have anything that you're struggling with and you want to personally develop about yourself, then let me know in the comments so I can make a video for you about that. And if you have any questions, you can head over to my Instagram or TikTok at Nairi's Mind, where I post some more short form content on becoming the best version of yourself. And if it's your first time here, then please subscribe. I post videos every week on leveling up, becoming the best version of yourself, and creating your dream life. So if that's for you, then I would love to see you here more often, and I'll see you in my next video.